Alright, today I'm back again, and the article that I'll be reading about is by the weekly by JC, and the article title is called Your Phone is the Reason You Have No Identity. Is your algorithm a reflection of you, or have you become nothing but a mirror of your algorithm? Let's go. The other day, I was scrolling through Instagram when I came across this post. And then this post is about. At the beginning, I agreed immediately. I was even about to like the post when I suddenly stopped in my tracks and thought, wait, no, this is not it. The reason I don't like the algorithm isn't because it's my reflection. It's because it's an engine created to manipulate me so it can keep me engaged for as long as possible, stealing both my attention and my precious time. Why did I even agree in the first place? Well, easy. Because sometimes you consume so much content in the span of 2 minutes that you don't even stop to think about what you are reading. Because those words end up imprinted in your subconscious, one way or another, and they can become a bigger problem than you would expect. The algorithm, how we think we shape it, but how it shapes us in the end. After coming across this post, I couldn't help but ask myself, how many times have I agreed mindlessly to something the internet tells me about myself? It's like the email chains that used to circulate back in 2008, sending our parents into a pit of shared mouse psychosis. Right now, we make fun of boomers who believe the AI generated videos they see on Facebook are real. But are we really different when we believe everything a stranger tells us about ourselves online? I'll give you an example. My Instagram reel algorithm is somehow obsessed with the idea that I have an avoidant attachment style. Even though I want to talk in depth in a future post about how cheap internet psychology is ruining our relationships, I always end up buying into it without even realizing it. But am I truly avoidant? When I think about my past dating patterns, I realize it couldn't be further from the truth. When I like someone, I am caring, communicative, and to be honest, leading more to the anxious side. Or maybe neither of them. Who cares? Why does the internet need to pathologize pathologize every single aspect of human nature? Sure, past experiences have made me colder and more wary, but that doesn't mean I'm avoidant. It just means I'm human. It means I have let my experiences shape me and that I'm growing older and changing. As I see it, the algorithm seems to have taken your most toxic traits and keeps showing them back to you through people who normalize them until you end up normalizing them too. How many times have you seen a video glorifying things like ghosting people, manipulating men, or taking weeks to respond to one of your friends? Without realizing it, you end up doing the same, and why you don't even feel guilty about it? I mean, why should you when everything can be summed up in a 30-second video in an ironic, humorous way? Lately, I get angry every time I am scrolling and my algorithm shows me something like this. I stop and think, why are you trying to tell me who I am? This can also be seen in fashion. You can tell how chronically online someone is just by looking at their outfit. And if you are just as chronically online as they are, you can even identify the exact aesthetic or micro trend they are trying to emulate. Y2K, cottagecore with a little hint of coquette, electric grandpa with a Jane Birkin type bag, except she got all her trinkets from Shein instead of letting them build up over time. Are any of these trends a reflection of the person wearing them, or just a reflection of what their algorithm chooses to feed them? When you pay attention to, you become. As a big fan of manifestation since I was 15, when my dad's cousin gifted me The Secret before it was trendy on the internet, I have decided to reread this book this month. And let me tell you something, you don't need to believe in the law of attraction to accept one basic truth. Just like you are what you eat and who you hang out with, you are what you pay attention to. As I was going through the book, I started noticing the algorithm inflicted thoughts becoming imprinted in my subconscious mind. I mean, we all know it. No matter who you are, algorithms will always show you negative things on a smaller or larger scale. Rich bait, tragedies, or constant reminders of insecurities you might actually relate to. You can never truly escape. Negativity sells. Negativity makes you pay attention, so that's what you get. And even though I truly believe we shouldn't turn a blind eye to what's happening in this world, being constantly bombarded with this kind of negativity is genuinely detrimental to our mental health. I realized that in the periods of my life when I use one social media platform more than others, I become a slightly different person. When I use X a lot, I get angrier. I start thinking negatively about everything. Certain celebrities I shouldn't care about, and trivial things that would normally cross my mind suddenly makes me feel sick. When I use TikTok and Instagram a lot, I start caring more about more superficial things. Trends, new clothes, celebrity gossip, and other people's dating lives. I get horrible FOMO, and I feel bad about my life after seeing so many amazing travels, people visiting places I can only afford to dream about. When I go through Substack notes, I end up with this feeling that is very visible in my long form posts of, oh, fuck the internet, social media. I would much rather go to a retreat in the woods. I'm a fucking intellectual. I forget that the word is I forget that the world is so much more than Sylvia Plath quotes, Todd daughters, and Carrie Bradshaw pictures. But then who am I? Who are we? I don't know how much of me has been shaped over the 13 years I have spent on the internet. How many of my favorite movies did I watch because I saw a TikTok about them? How many books did I read because the algorithm kept pushing them at me? How many of the things I wear truly represent who I am or what makes me feel comfortable? And how many did I buy just because the internet convinced me to? Or how much music did I listen to only because Spotify shoved it in my face? We have lost our agency to explore the things we truly like, to build our own to build our own identity through lived experiences and the people we know. I recently found my MP3 player from my early teens, back when I wasn't chronically online and didn't even know what Spotify was. I could still recall who I had recommended each song, my stepmother's car playlist on her burner CD, my dad's favorite songs, different friends' recommendations. And even though I can't deny that the algorithm has helped me find some gems, I miss when things felt more organic. When we were a curation of the things we liked, not a dumpster of daily overstimulation, consuming content we can't even store inside ourselves. In this era, you are no longer made up of things you love, situations, people, and little quirks. You are a taught daughter who reads Kafka, listens to Lana Del Rey, and watches Body and the Virgin Suicides. You are a performative male who drinks matcha, carry a Trader Joe's tote bag, and probably has a mullet and a mustache too. You are a Jane Birkin's bag filled with trinkets bought on Shein. We are all becoming copies of the copy of the copy. And it is because we all are on a smaller or larger scale, mindlessly consuming the same things. It's because we no longer choose what we consume. And for this reason, we no longer choose what we become. So no, I don't hate the algorithm because it is a reflection of who I am. I hate it because it has the power to manipulate the kind of person I could become. Interesting? I think this is a very interesting um, thought essay into the true realities of the world. Uh, I would not. I think that increasingly it is. Okay, let's give some counterpoints first. Counterpoints one. I think that counterpoint one. I think that internet is not. The internet helps us discover more things. Sure, while it curates a lot of aspects of our life, I don't really think that it entirely I think mindless scrolling creates a sense of uniformity. But if people were to be able to scroll with intention, then that problem goes away because you are actively consuming and actively knowing what you consume. Back in the day, you are basically a curation of your friends' recommendations too. Um, it's just that now you're doing it on a larger scale and perhaps with things that are more curated to you. Say if the internet feeds you something, then sure, that is probably aligned. And if you like it, then you might have repetitions of what you are, but that does show a deeper side of what you're interested in. However, that being said, I would have to agree. However, that being said, it could be oversimplistic to say that the internet purely, uh, it is oversimplistic to say that the internet will. It is oversimplistic to just say that the internet is that we are scrolling with thought is able to help us overcome this problem. I think by and large, to a certain extent, the internet by geography, by personality, is able to curate certain things and is able to give us a certain experience. So, for example, boys and girls will have a very different view of the internet. The content that gets pushed out to guys is very different from the content that gets pushed out to girls. So, therefore, it is a very evident fact that the internet is curated to different demographics, to different social groups, and to different aspects of people. So, obviously, in the past, where you might be getting a very Singapore experience because you live in Singapore and every Singaporean gets to live and feel a certain way. Now, even males and females in Singapore get a very different version of the internet. And that's real. So I would say that you are also shaped by the internet to a certain extent. So how then do we be able to scroll more intentionally? How are we able then to scroll more affectionately? So I saw one video where this guy went to recreate his uh Apple iPod. So he took his iPod out and started to add in music once again. He was able to curate his own playlist and he was not dependent on Spotify. So basically, he cancelled his Spotify subscription. Honestly, I think that yes, for Spotify should be used as a medium for discovery, and I will admit that I have really gotten a lot of good, interesting music from Spotify, and my algorithm as well. But the thing is that uh people should still be mind should not always be should not always be consuming. People should be more focused on creating and consuming and curating their own lives. I think the art of curating should try to come back to individuals rather than people just basically endlessly taking in. So perhaps we need to understand what makes curation. How do we curate our lives again? What do we want to create again? And in the art of creating, we'll be able to differentiate and take inspiration from existing platforms of the internet. Like social media will never go away. Instagram, TikTok will never go away. But I think awareness of what they do to you is very important. Like for example, as the author wrote, X made her feel angry, Instagram made her feel more conscious of what she's doing, conscious of social media. And I think that is very real. Like the awareness is important, the ability to curate is important, but we are losing it, and we need to get back into the days of authentically creating art and authentically building up the self to create and be inspired and to create and be inspired again. And obviously, it is important to go and find different forms of inspiration. Don't always be stuck. And this is a reminder to myself. Don't always be stuck to one form of inspiration. Like for example, right now when I'm creating my Instagram reels, I feel that I'm very inspired by one sort of videos that might not necessarily work for my target demographic. And now it looks like that's the direction that I want to go. But how can I create and be inspired by different forms of media so that I create my own personal style and so that I do not become a copy of a copy of a copy on the internet. And that's very important, the awareness, to think, to learn, and to unlearn, and to create, and to be aware enough that you are affected by a certain form of influence. I think that is very, very important in today's world as well. Yeah, especially with AI, right? AI just feeds you the other people's perspective that they've been trained on. And so it's very important to differentiate that, because with AI now, how do you even have your own original thought when existing thoughts are being given to you as the original answer? So I would argue that it's a skill rather than something that we should avoid entirely, because algorithms are here to stay. We need to learn how to live with them and use them effectively. So yeah, it's about 15 minutes right now, and thank you for listening to my talk today. Very interesting article. Go and check out check out the reader, check out the writer, and I really think the Substack is a very good place. Sorry, I'm mumbling this morning because I just woke up, and probably one thing that I should learn is how to speak better, especially when I just woke up. Yeah, morning voice. See you.